How do you feel about more business opportunities in Saniston and more growth, and how would you do it? Sue, if you'd like to start us off.
Sue Stroud. Last night I went to the annual general meeting of the Saniston Village Association, which is a very unique group made up of citizens and business people. And I was mightily impressed by the work they do together. They have the answers that the rest of us need to be hearing. So the Saniston Village Association started by deciding that they were going to clean up Saniston, they were going to beautify it. In the process, they have started helping their poorer neighbors. They have created something that I don't think they even realize themselves they've done. They've created an organization which can step in an emergency and help look after Saniston. So I think there's a start there. I think you need to build housing over businesses, and I'm all for paying a lot more attention to Saniston. They haven't had their fair share. Thanks.
Kathy Amstead. I concur with Susan to a certain degree that definitely we need to pay attention to Saniston, and there's a lot of room for growth in Saniston. There's a lot of vacancies where businesses can move into, but I think the first step that I think needs to change is our access at a municipal level for businesses to feel that they can actually come into our community and be successful. I don't believe our businesses feel they can come here and even have any sort of success because there's so many hurdles and red tape in their way whenever they need to try to do anything. So that would be my suggestion for Saniston.
Thank you. I concur with Sue Stroud to a lot of her points. I do live nearby in Saniston, and I know that from talking to local business owners like Ron Spelt, that there has been a sense that with revitalization of Brentwood and all the focus on heating, that Saniston is being left out. And first, to follow Sue, I do believe that the business owners know themselves what best they would need, and that the answers are in the community. We as council need to do a better job of reaching out and answering those questions. Second, I do believe that building up and not out offers some possibilities, that there may be some ways to use multi-use development to increase the viability of Saniston. Third, I really believe that Saniston would be helped as much as Keating would by a safe interchange from the Pat Bay Highway, as something that would connect to the Lochside bicycle traffic as well as automobile traffic would be very important. As a bike commuter, I know it's not very easy to get over on something as it is right now. Thank you.
Well, Sue is right. I sat at the same table she did last night in the Saniston Village Association, and I wondered to myself where the rest of the candidates were, because really Saniston is one of the three vital urban cores of our municipality. So there's really no reason that everyone at this table shouldn't have been there last night to hear the concerns of the Saniston Village Association. And I feel it's important to identify that, because if we're not hearing what these organizations are doing, we can't help them. I heard great suggestions for a bike shelter so that, the bike lanes that are now supposed to be in use on East End Road could actually be used, so the bikes could be stored there for innovative programs that would go bike and ride, And I think that we need, obviously, reasonable taxes to ensure that landlords can provide spaces to tenants at reasonable rates. We need to ensure that the village looks good, so we need to help the Saniston Village Association like we help the Brentwood Village Association. Thank you.
John Garrison. Obviously, we all hope there's more business opportunities in all of our urban centers, whether it's Brentwood, Saniston, Keating. Also the business owners themselves have to come forward with some suggestions as to what they would like us to do. I think certainly there is some land there that is prime for redevelopment. The old shopping center where the London Drugs is, if that wanted to be put forward. Obviously, we've looked at considering on Brentwood housing over businesses, and that would be one of the major issues if you wanted to increase the viability of the area and having more residents as well. So I think really it comes down to the businesses themselves coming forward as to what they would like to do, and the owners themselves coming forward with redevelopments that meet the community needs. Thank you.
As a past business operator in the area, I found that the number one way to support a business is to go and use their services. The way that we need to continue to expose and communicate with our businesses, to open up council, to attend those groups, to have them come to council and hear what the business leaders in the community need, out so that they can support them in what they need to do to expand their business. We need to do this, and we need to listen to them and set up communication. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my name is Zeb King. It's a great question, and I fully agree that Saanich Village Association has been doing some great work, as well as the in Brentwood area, the Brentwood Bay Revitalization Committee, which led the way for the Brentwood area. We probably need a Keating area revitalization committee. And I think that our solution is to approach this not from a top-down plan, but from a bottom-up effort from those people in the community. I've heard a lot of great ideas, including increased height of buildings perhaps, increased density in the area, or at least discussion of that. And so I think this is a great example of bringing a lot of smart people together and coming up with a lot of ideas that we would all share. Thank you.
Robert Thompson. When I moved to Saanich 20 years ago, the agricultural grounds were still the agricultural grounds. Thrifties was an empty field. And shortly after the Polo Park rezoning was done, I think within 6 months of that, the Thrifties applied for development permits and so forth to go in there. So clearly development does help. Really, I think it's going to depend on the business and development community. Zoning bylaws already allow 3-story buildings into there, and clearly Pioneer Village is the key in terms of redevelopment. And perhaps some other properties, it is limited physically. In terms of residential development, primarily, I think there's one property at Jeffrey and East Saanich ultimately that will probably be redeveloped. But there you go. It's going to be up to, obviously, the business community and association. Thank you.
Hello again, Carl Jensen. Ryan, I'm really sorry I didn't make it out last night. I was coaching 2 different soccer teams, but thanks for calling me out. Business is the backbone of our community. And it's not just because it services for us. It's because it employs our neighbors. My neighbor across the street works in Keating. My neighbors up the street are employed by businesses there. We need to support them. We've got an official community plan. I'd like to propose an economic development plan for Central Saanich that's going to partner with organizations such as the Chamber of Commerce, working with them, using them, and they're the experts, but let's get them involved in the discussion. And it's not a one-time thing. This is going to be ongoing. And from that, we can develop plans that will look at Saanich, Keating, as well as Brentwood. Thank you.
Applaud you there, Carl. Wonderful. This is a situation where an economic development officer would be really invaluable. We need to form a plan to encourage development and densification. We need to look at what we want to do in Saanich, what we want it to look like, what businesses we would want to see, what businesses would have symbiotic relationships with the existing businesses, and we need to address parking issues, a huge issue over in Saanich. And we need to look at further rejuvenation and carrying on that wonderful thinking that they've got going over there. Huge potential, we just need to get a plan.
Wayne Spencer. As I said in my opening talk there, focusing on just one of the regions for future business growth, it would be kind of like having a stool with one leg shorter than another. We're a community and we need to look at all 3 of our urban areas and make sure that the development is consistent with what is going on in each local region, and definitely bigger buildings at the front, as we see on page 24 of the OCP. Thank you.
Adam Olson. I've also spent some time with the Saanich Village Association and know them to be very kind people, and in fact will be a major part of this discussion going forward. I think that there does need to be next generation of development, probably mixed use, as has been said, probably much higher. I think that one of the things that I would like to draw attention to in this is that it's more than just the business owners that we need to engage, it's the property owners. The property owners there are the ones that we're expecting to make this investment in their property. And it's not always the right time for them to be doing that. So the businesses often go in and lease and rent the space from the people who own the properties. And so it's important for us as a council to be building relationships with those property owners. Thank you.
When you're dealing with business, one of the most important things to do is keep the process clear and lines of communication open. What's important to avoid is jumping to conclusions or making rash decisions. We need to make sure we've investigated every opportunity, fully exhausted all options, and to make sure we have full cooperation with the community. Haste makes waste, and we can't waste any opportunities.
What we need to do first is make sure that our infill guideline policy infill guidelines are complete, and that we work with the residents in that area so that they're prepared for the next phase in Sanderson, which to redevelop that commercial means building up and under, with underground parking and residential above. We need to make sure that the residents in Sanderson are on board with that before moving forward, and how that's going to work in that community. Also, we need to look at ways of reducing red tape. I think the Economic Development Officer, Susan Mason, touched on is a good one. I think we also need to look at our tax system. Right now it's reversed. When a sector declines, we tax it more.
Alex Grayson. We've done a lot of the legwork already in Sanderson. The upgrade on East Saanich Road is a huge improvement. We've got reasonable setup there for public transit. Maybe the buses aren't coming quite as often as we would like, but there's a good setup there. I think the piece that's missing, and Chris alluded to it, is the planning exercise that we're actually undertaking at the moment, and that is our residential densification study. And I'm hoping that that piece, if we can come to some sort of a vision and an agreement, will actually give a sense of security for proponents to bring proposals forward, because we will have bought into some sort of a concept for that village through that process. And I think that's what's missing, is the sense of security for proponents to come forward and not feel they're having to lift the entire thing up in the air. Thank you.